Hey, I'm Alison from Boomerang Pilates, and this is day 5 of the 7 days of feet foot challenge. So yesterday we were talking a little bit in a very giggly way about Petra and I trying to do external rotation and foot eversion at the same time, and we were, having a really successful time with it. So here are some of the things that we were playing with in advance of that, and a somewhat more serious exploration of how you would combine those two things. As Petra mentioned in her post earlier, external rotation of the hip and forefoot eversion are a pretty big combination of things to do together, so this is more advanced footwork. See if you can identify, so I've got my legs externally rotated here to neutral. See how much my feet are needing to turn out for this? This is like big, crazy work to try and get my feet to press in, and you can see my toes are doing a lot of the work, and I'm very close to cramping. And now I'm going to explore some inner thigh stuff, and then we'll come back and check this again. So now we're going to explore some inner thigh function and see what effect that has on how our feet work. So we're going to start with just a straight over cobbler stretch to see what range it looks like I have. So if I lie down and I get myself nicely stable, this looks like a pretty awesome cobbler stretch, right? Lots of range, my ribs are down, my head is relaxed. But if I actually palpate my inner thighs, they are like rock. They're like aircraft cable. They're not relaxed. There's nothing pliable about the muscles. So I've gone way, way, way past my functional active range for my inner thighs, even though it looks like it's okay. This is all ligament and not such a good thing for the muscles. So rather than go for a stretch, I'm going to go for a release. And I'm going to start with my legs snugged right up. And I'm going to go only as far as I can go, feeling like there's no tangible tension in my inner thigh muscles. And I don't know if you can see from there, but that's it. That's my range. That's what I can do and still have a really nicely soft, relaxed inner thigh. So if I was actually doing this properly, I would make it so you can see my head. I would stay here for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I would release a little bit, and then I would stay for another 2 or 3 minutes. This really is a release process. It takes a bit of time. Hang out, listen to music, get in touch with what it feels like to actually have your legs and your hips in their relaxed range. You could check around with what that's doing with your hip flexors. Can you get those to let go? You might need to grab a half dome and let yourself have a little bit of extra support. And then having done that for a couple of minutes, then work your inner thighs. So take your feet quite wide, mat distance apart if you're on a mat. Get your feet aligned so that they're matching, the outside edge of the foot matches up with the outside edge of your mat. Have the ball halfway between your knees and your pubic bones. And then gently squeeze in on the ball and really try to locate not your glutes, not your abs, not your hip flexors. Push in only as hard as you can push in without defaulting the job of the inner thighs to any other muscle. So you might find you can't push in nearly as hard as you think you can. See if you can find the sort of the inside and the back of the inner thigh rather than your medial quad. Squeezes, maybe 20, 25 squeezes, only as far as you can go without recruiting any of those other muscles. So just keep checking in for squishy butt, squishy belly. Squishy's good. And press and release. Make sure you are actually releasing until just before you drop the ball so that your brain has to kind of reconnect to whatever muscles are actually firing up here. And do a bunch of those. And then come back. Try your cobbler stretch again. See if there's any discernible change in the tension that you're finding or the range. You might actually find your range is a little bit less, which would be awesome. It would mean that you are, your body is better able to respect its limits. And then you can come back, do your strap stretch again. I would cycle through these 2 or even 3 times. The release, the stretch, and then the activation. When you've done all of that, then you could try your legs on the wall. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see my feet, but we'll give it a go. Find your external rotation when you have less grippage in your inner thighs, and see if you can get a little bit more motion into your feet that requires less gripping from your toes. I haven't actually done the whole sequence, so I don't know that it's going to make much difference yet, but feel free to play around with that and have fun. And we'll see you for day 6 tomorrow.